Ethan Blake and his wife, Chloe, lived in the beautiful northern beaches of Sydney. This area is famous for its stunning ocean views, wealthy neighborhoods, and relaxed coastal lifestyle. Ethan was a 36-year-old financial advisor. He worked long hours to provide for his family and was a man of routine. Chloe, 34, was a yoga instructor adored by the community for her beauty, charm, and kind nature. The couple had an 8-year-old son named Jack. Jack was an energetic, curious boy who was the center of Ethan's world. Ethan loved spending time with Jack, whether it was playing football in the backyard or teaching him to surf at the beach. To their friends, Ethan and Chloe seemed to have the perfect life. They often hosted weekend barbecues, spent time with other families, and enjoyed carefree days by the ocean. Ethan felt proud, believing that family was his greatest achievement. But everything changed one day. It all started on a warm Saturday afternoon. Ethan was sitting in the spacious backyard, enjoying a cold beer, while Jack kicked a football around the lawn. The air was filled with the fresh scent of eucalyptus, and the distant sound of waves crashing on the shore created a peaceful background. Chloe was lounging on a deck chair, her phone in hand, typing furiously. "Who are you texting?" Ethan asked with a smile, expecting a light-hearted response. "Oh, just the girls. We're organizing a yoga retreat," Chloe replied without looking up. Her tone was too casual, almost rehearsed. Ethan didn't think much of it at first, but as the weeks went by, her behavior started to change. She was glued to her phone, often texting late at night and locking the screen whenever he entered the room. Something felt different. They had always shared everything, but now there was a growing distance between them. Their conversations had become shallow, and the date nights they once enjoyed had become rare. Ethan, a logical and patient man, tried to brush off his suspicions. After all, Chloe was busy with her work, and he knew his long hours at the office didn't help. But despite his efforts, a nagging feeling in the pit of his stomach refused to go away. One evening, while Chloe was in the shower, her phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. Out of curiosity, Ethan glanced at the screen. His eyes landed on a message from someone named Josh. "Last night was incredible. I can't stop thinking about you." Ethan's heart skipped a beat. Josh? Who the hell is Josh? His hands trembled as he stared at the message, his mind racing to connect the dots. Every strange behavior Chloe had shown in the past few months now seemed to fit into a larger, darker picture. He quickly put the phone back down when he heard the shower stop, his heart pounding in his chest. For the next few days, Ethan lived in a state of paranoia. He watched Chloe closely, replaying moments from the past in his head. Could she really be having an affair? He had never doubted her before, but now every smile, every glance at her phone, felt suspicious. Unable to endure the uncertainty any longer, Ethan decided to take matters into his own hands. Late one night, after Chloe had fallen asleep, he made his move. Ethan installed a discreet app on Chloe's phone that synced her messages to his own. As he set it up, he felt a pang of guilt. He knew it was an invasion of her privacy, but he needed to know the truth. He couldn't confront her without proof. For the next few days, the app revealed nothing unusual. The messages were casual, mostly about her yoga clients or chats with friends. Ethan started to question himself, wondering if he had been overreacting and doubting his suspicions. But just when he was about to uninstall the app, the truth came crashing down. One evening, as Ethan sat alone in his home office, a series of texts between Chloe and someone named Josh appeared on his screen. He froze, his heart sinking as he read the messages. Josh wasn't just a casual acquaintance. He was her lover. Josh, a 31-year-old personal trainer at Chloe's yoga studio, had been having an affair with her for months. The texts were filled with flirtation, intimate details of their encounters, and plans for future meetups. What hurt Ethan even more than the physical betrayal were the emotional messages. Chloe had shared things with Josh that she hadn't said to Ethan in years. She confided in him, complained about her marriage, and painted Ethan as a neglectful, absent husband. Ethan's hands trembled as he scrolled through the messages, each one cutting deeper than the last. His world felt like it was crumbling around him. Ethan had given everything to their marriage and their family. How could she do this to him? To Jack? The next morning, Ethan could barely focus. His mind was racing, filled with a toxic mix of anger, sadness, and confusion. He knew he had to confront Chloe, but the thought of that conversation terrified him. He didn't want to believe it was real. But the messages were undeniable proof there was no escaping the truth. After Jack left for school, Ethan found Chloe in the kitchen sipping her morning coffee. She greeted him with a smile, completely unaware of the storm building inside him. "Chloe, we need to talk," Ethan said, his voice steady but cold. Chloe looked up, her smile fading. "What's wrong?" Ethan placed her phone on the counter, unlocked, and displaying the incriminating messages. He watched as the color drained from her face. She didn't say a word, but guilt was written all over her expression. "I know about Josh," Ethan said, his voice trembling with emotion. "I know everything." Chloe's hand shook as she reached for the phone, her eyes scanning the messages. Tears welled up in her eyes as she realized she had been caught. She looked up at Ethan, her voice barely a whisper. "Ethan, I'm so sorry." "Sorry? That's all you have to say." Ethan's voice cracked as his anger bubbled to the surface. "You've been lying to me for months. How could you do this to us?" "To Jack." Chloe broke down, sobbing into her hands. Through her tears, she tried to explain. She said she had felt lonely, neglected, that Ethan had been too focused on work and hadn't given enough attention to their relationship. Chloe claimed that Josh had given her the attention she had been craving. She said it started as an emotional connection and then spiraled into something more. But Ethan wasn't convinced. They had both been busy, both struggled to balance work and family. Yet he had never strayed, not once. To Ethan, Chloe's betrayal wasn't just a mistake. It was a choice, a selfish and deliberate choice. Unable to process the magnitude of what had happened, Ethan walked away from the conversation. He couldn't even look at Chloe without feeling a wave of anger and disgust. He couldn't believe that the woman he had loved and trusted for over a decade could do this to him. Over the next few days, Ethan thought carefully about his next steps. He wasn't going to act impulsively, but he also wasn't going to let Chloe off easily. He wanted justice, not just for himself, but for Jack too. The first thing Ethan did was contact a lawyer and begin the process of filing for divorce. He made sure their assets would be divided fairly and that Jack's well-being would be protected in the custody arrangements. Chloe had no idea that Ethan was already taking action. She thought everything was still up in the air, but Ethan was moving quickly behind the scenes. Chloe believed she still had time to fix things and repair the damage she had caused. But Ethan had no intention of letting her back into his life. Ethan began to subtly reveal the truth about Chloe to their close-knit circle of friends. Their friends had always admired Chloe for her grace and beauty, but Ethan calmly and honestly told them what had happened. He didn't exaggerate or play the victim. He just shared the facts and let others draw their own conclusions. Word spread quickly. Chloe's perfect image started to fall apart. Friends who once admired her now whispered behind her back. Their once busy social circle, filled with barbecues and weekend outings, began to avoid her. Even Josh, the younger man she had risked everything for, quickly distanced himself. He wasn't interested in dealing with the fallout of a broken marriage, especially when it became clear that Chloe's life was falling apart. Chloe found herself alone. Her perfect life was shattered. The affair had cost her more than just her marriage. It had cost her friendships, respect, and the carefully crafted life she once had. Meanwhile, Ethan started to rebuild his life. The divorce was painful, and adjusting to shared custody of Jack was challenging, but Ethan was determined to move forward. He focused on his work, pouring his energy into expanding his business and creating a stable future for himself and Jack. Ethan spent more time with Jack, making sure his son felt loved and supported. They took weekend trips to the beach, went on hikes, and explored Sydney together. Jack, though young, could sense the tension between his parents, but Ethan worked hard to shield him from the worst of it. He didn't want Jack to carry the burden of their broken marriage. One afternoon, as Ethan and Jack walked along the shoreline with the sun setting behind them, Ethan felt a sense of peace for the first time in months. The pain of Chloe's betrayal still lingered, but it no longer controlled his life. He had taken back control and was moving forward one step at a time. And so, my friends, this is how Ethan uncovered the double life his wife had been living, hidden behind the simplicity of a mobile chat. It's a powerful reminder that betrayal often starts small, with the secrets we think we can keep hidden. But the truth always has a way of coming to light, no matter how deeply it's buried. What would you do if you were in Ethan's shoes? How would you handle such a situation? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Thank you for watching.